What is up, Mets fans?
Hey guys,
Season's over.
over.
It's done. The Mets
Done.
lost to the Dodgers, and that's it. That's it. The 2024 Magic storybook season has come to a close. The Mets have been eliminated in the NLCS in Game 6. Not exactly what we wanted. The ultimate goal was not reached. We will talk a lot about the season in general. I mean, it's going to be a weird episode just because I don't think anybody really wants to talk about the game too much. We can get it over with in 2 sentences. 12 men left on base. Pitching was bad. That's kind of all you need to know for Game 6. Sucked. Really sucked. Would have loved to keep going. It was so much fun this season, but of course, we did not. Dodgers win, move on to the World Series to play the New York Yankees. We will talk to you guys more about that stuff later on this week. Today is just going to be just a little sad boy episode, a little Marvin's Room, whatever sad song you got. Join along with us. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel to see the video version of this. And if you are listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download and subscribe. Before I tell everybody what was going on with me, how I was feeling tonight, James, how was it? How were the vibes in New York City? What were you up to? How are you currently feeling? Instant reaction.
I mean, the day was good. I was really hopeful all day, rocking Mets stuff all day. Got a new purple sweater I wore to the game on Friday. Also, sorry you guys that we didn't do an episode after the really exciting game a few days ago. It was just a weekend. Mark's had a wedding. I was busy this weekend. It was hard to just get out an episode late Friday night for Saturday. So apologies on that, but the vibes were great. I got 100 Let's Go Mets'd today walking around Williamsburg and Greenpoint in my Mets hat. Everyone was wearing Mets hats. Everyone's wearing Mets hats. Friends I was with were like, wow, everyone is out wearing Mets hats today. There was true hope in the air. I think it was rightful hope. We just had a really emotional win to send the game series back to LA. We had our ace on the mound. There wasn't any reason not to be hopeful going to this game. And then we fucking scored the first run.
I know.
And I was like, oh my God, we scratched one out. We put the pressure on them. Their best reliever came in and we got a run off him. And then it's just Manaea just didn't have it. Whatever. He's never pitched this deep into a season. He's never thrown this many innings in his life. That's just baseball. It's how it kind of works sometimes. This Dodgers team is fucking relentless. These hitters just never stop. I'll hate Tommy Edman until my last dying breath. But I'm just sad. The end, it's I understand the idea of being really proud of what this team accomplished this season, how exciting the last month of baseball was. And then, but also there's such an ample disappointment that you were 2 wins away from the pennant. And these opportunities don't come very often. As Mets fans, we know that. I know there's reasons to be hopeful for the future, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the episode. But this is just nothing is given. There's nothing guaranteed that anyone from his core ever makes it again. Ask Matt Harvey if he ever got back to that spot. It's just how baseball works. And the worst part of all this is when the season ends like this, and it's so much fun to watch this team every day. It feels like you just lost a friend.
I know.
I'm not going to be able to watch this team play this every single day. That's why baseball's the best. You can just set your watch. I'm going to throw the Mets game on. I'm going to enjoy my night, or maybe not enjoy your night, but have at least.
I'm going to watch baseball.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the baseball. Have some emotions that come with it. And that's kind of the joy and fun of it all. And when it goes away, it's just oh, it's gone. It sucks.
Yeah, there's a massive hole right now in my life where I'm like, what am I going to do? I have to watch the Dodgers Yankees World Series just because YouTube. Well, yeah, you don't, but I kind of do.
I won't.
I pretend to do a job every once in a while, so probably have to watch some of those World Series games. But it's even when those end, it's man, would have really loved if we were the ones on top ending this season. That would have been incredible. Things were going so insanely right at every single turn for the last 3-4 months since June, where it's almost like Stockholm syndrome in a way, where you're my captors, I just trust them now. The Mets, when they got me, I was like, this is terrible. This is awful. This is the worst. And then all of a sudden by the end of it, I'm like, holy shit, I love this team. This has been incredible. I want nothing more than this team to continue to play baseball every single day. And they just came up short. And I think, objectively speaking, like you said, the Dodgers are a really good baseball team. The Dodgers are the best baseball team on paper. They came out and they beat us this series. Really not many close games. The games that we lost, we got shelled. The games that we won, we kind of just handled business. It wasn't really a good series in terms of actual baseball, in between the lines.
Bad one.
Yeah. But it felt close because the Mets were able to get those 2 wins, get that win at home, get that win in LA. There was a lot of hope for sure. I was super hopeful today. I was tight. I was nervous, but I was anxious because I was like, man, I want this game to start 8:00. Can't come soon enough for me to start watching this game. And like you said, that first run was incredible, especially because Pete Alonso, bad swing, gets jammed. They make a throwing error. I'm like, holy shit, I think it's happening. And then Manaea came out and stunk, like you said, which you can't even get. You can like be disappointed. I think that's the right reaction.
Yeah.
I think you're allowed to be disappointed as a Mets fan right now. I think any anger or whatever, like overreaction is a little bit much. Definitely allowed to be disappointed just because everything really was so great until it wasn't. And today was just the end of it. And that sucks. It was a fun season. I don't think it's really going to hit me until maybe a couple days that there's no more Mets baseball right now and that the season's over. But like, fuck, so close. 2 wins away. 2 wins away. Oh, so close.
I think also I want to talk about the game for just 45 more seconds. The one thing that's going to stick in my craw that I'm not going to be able to get over is the fact that when Manaea got into trouble again in the third inning, gave up the home run to Edman, walked Muncy, was clearly shot. Carlos Mendoza went back to Phil Maton, which again, I still love Carlos Mendoza. I still think Carlos Mendoza is the right manager for this team. But I think that when looking at this series and really going through with a fine-tooth comb, there's a lot of decisions that he made that I thought inversely affected the team's chances to win. And just going with Phil Maton as your first guy out of the pen was really frustrating for me because he's someone who has shown a complete incapability to get any outs whatsoever this entire series. And the Mets only were able to scratch themselves back into this game a little bit when Mendoza kind of started to realize that he was managing the last game of the season, started to manage like it was last game of the season, and when it went to Edwin, and then
I love that decision. I loved using Edwin there because it's
and Stanek and then Garrett, but like that was it. And then because you see on the other side, Dave Roberts has been here before, it failed here before. A lot of times on his own volition, he in this game he tries to sneak out 2 innings of Ben Kasparius, who we just wish we could have hit. But when he doesn't get outs the way they're supposed to. There's a man on first and 1 out in the third inning with a 1-run lead. The third inning, and Jesse Winker's coming up, but he goes to his only lefty in the bullpen to get out of that inning and not give up a run, even though he walked Winker. And Marte had one of the worst at-bats I've ever seen in my life.
So bad.
But I'm saying, like, that was managing with urgency. Like, he used Kopech in the first inning, not because it was like a key moment in the game, but because those are the Mets' 3 best hitters, and that's his best reliever. And he knew how important the first round was. Didn't wind up being that important, but it was just managing with more urgency, managing with desperation, managing like a trip to the World Series on the line, where Carlos Mendoza was kind of business as usual this series, which I think hopefully is a lesson for Carlos Mendoza. Hopefully the next time the Mets get to a spot like this, that the urgency comes in. Yeah,
I mean, seeing Jesse Winker play as well as he did these last 2 games is a little frustrating.
Bit of a thorn in the balls there, but it's like that. But again, that comes from experience. That comes from a team and a manager that's done this tons of fucking times.
Yeah, like
how many NLCS games the Dodgers core fucking played? Like it's insane. Like this.
Well, do you see the stat they flashed? Dave Roberts, I think, has the 6th most postseason wins in MLB history. That's crazy. That's nuts. The guy's been managing for 10 years
and no World Series.
Yeah, no World Series.
But it's just I don't know. How I listened to the last inning and a half of this game on the radio because I wanted to hear Howie just send me off, and I knew the Mets weren't coming back. He had a great line. Thought it was amazing. This tweet also came from Just Mets, but how he said it on the broadcast. I'll say this about the 2024 Mets. They made the 70-year-old feel 15 again. And I think that's the truth for what this Mets team was able to do, like to be a little more positive for a second. They really made us all be like, holy shit, like this is the best thing happening, right? Best thing ever right now.
Yeah, it was fucking fun. And that's not something us Mets fans get to say very often. Our fun in the past has been very different. It's been like hokey. It's been like not necessarily focused around winning. What made this year and all like the random bullshit that normally goes on in the Mets season anyway fun is that this team continued to win and get better and better and surprise you every single chance they get, from Jose Iglesias being fucking awesome all year long to Sean Manaea and Luis Severino being guys that just came off the scrap heap essentially this offseason, were huge for us down the stretch. Kodai Senga even just making an appearance in the postseason. Like there were so many ups and downs with the team's fucking Grimace and OMG and Seymour Wiener, Hawk-Tua. Like we all know, like that's like hokey shit that the Mets would have. The Rizzler, oh, he almost saved the season. I fucking love the Rizzler.
For a day.
He's a king. Shout out the Rizzler. But the difference this year between all that stuff and previous years is that the Mets continued to win. It wasn't the typical LOL Mets that you get in the past. Like this was a really good baseball team. It sucks that they couldn't bring it home. But I'm also not mad. Does that make sense? Like I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated in a way like today of being like, damn it, fuck. We had a shot. We had a shot to do something special. But at the same time, I think like it would be crazy for me to be like, fuck this team, fuck these guys. This guy didn't do this. This guy didn't show up for here. Like, I don't know, man. It's a long season. They did a lot of really good things.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's just bottom line is this team was 2 games away from doing something that's entire organization in 60 plus years of being an organization. I've only done 5 times.
Frankie Peppers is hosting a space right now.
That's again, that's well, but that's another big part of this year. I can't believe Frankie Peppers hosting a space. Probably in the car home, just bored, just like doing his own talk radio. Shout out Frankie. Should you join in?
It's too much. It's too much. If I was back home, if I wasn't in this Airbnb, I would totally figure out how to get that going onto the call.
But yeah, I like a quote from Lindor too about this. Cause I think another like positives. I just to try and take some positives, like the way that we saw Lindor and Nemo especially like grow together as leaders of this team. Like very proud of like what they were able to do with this clubhouse and this locker room. Like that's no small feat considering where this team came from to get to this point. But again, this isn't to me being like, oh, I can't. Like I don't know. It's hard to find the emotions right now between like being proud of these guys and what they did, but also being like, holy shit, like we were just 2 games away from the fucking World Series and we weren't able to pull it off.
I think both can be true. I think you can be again disappointed that we were so close and weren't able to finish the job, but also still have those things of like, damn, proud of this team, fun year, excited for what's coming next. Like I think especially on the organizational side, David Stearns and the Carlos Mendoza who we have at the head and just the core of guys that we have is a really good place to start. Of course, you need to be able to then get some other players. We saw we need way more pitching next year, like way more pitching. We need 1,000 arms, and we had a bunch this year. Need more. We need more hitters. I think there's a lot of stuff that the Mets are going to take from this season and hopefully be able to build on in the offseason. And that's something we'll talk about in a couple weeks because it's crazy to talk about offseason plans right now. But the taste in my mouth right now is not a bad taste. It's just like a fuck. So close. So close.
Yeah. Gonna get to more of this stuff on the other side, but first got a message from sponsor today's episode, Huel.
We get it. Mornings are nuts. No time for breakfast, but you need to get your day started right.
What if a delicious, nutritious meal could be ready in seconds? Support for Foul Territory is brought to you by Huel, the world's #1 complete nutrition brand. With over 400 million meals sold worldwide, Huel is trusted by millions of people looking to fuel their days with convenient, complete nutrition. Try it for yourself with this exclusive FT offer. 15% off with the code FOUL at Huel.com.
You know we're all about saving time, but we get hangry, like a lot. I recently fell in love with the Huel Ultimate Super Greens Powder, which is a perfect blend of 91 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients. I also love their complete nutrition bars, and those hot and savory pouches are fire too.
FT fam, give it a shot. Get 15% off with the code FOUL at HUEL.com. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters.
All right, James, I'm going to ask you the forbidden question.
Okay.
Was that Pete Alonso's last game as a New York Met?
I mean, maybe finally. I literally can't even think about that right now.
Like, what's the gut reaction? What's the gut reaction?
Gut reactions, maybe. I'd say like
maybe. That's not
my gut reaction is maybe. My gut reaction is like 60% yes, 40% no. So I think probably yeah. But I don't know. There's such like a push and pull happening right now. I feel like between Mets fans, where it's like, oh, future's bright. Like can't wait to be back here, and other people being like, this is the worst shit's ever happened. I think it's like it's clearly somewhere in the middle because like this is all about nuance. Baseball's a nuance game. If you don't like nuance, you probably need a different hobby. Maybe you should knit. But I don't know. I hate the future's bright shit. I hate when fans say that at the end of series, at the end of magical runs like this, because
I kind of disagree with you on this, but
2 years ago, the Blue Jays' future was so bright. It was so bright. And then like, look what the fuck happens. Like, that's just not how sports work. The Cubs won a World Series with a bunch of 26-year-olds on the team. The future was so fucking bright there. I'm just saying, it's just not how sports work. So there's a difference between like being confident in the future and like that be like, oh, this is where we're going to wind up from now. We're really building something here. Cause like, it's Howie said this too at the end of the broadcast where like he's been a part of as a fan, as a broadcaster, as an analyst, every season basically the Mets have ever played in the history of their organization. He said he doesn't ever remember a time where they had a synergy between the owner, the general manager, and the manager that was as strong as this between Steve Cohen, David Stearns, and Carlos Mendoza. And I agree with that. That's all good and well. Like Francisco Lindor's still here next year. He's an MVP candidate. Nimmo's going to be here next year. He's a stud outfielder. Like we're going to have we trust the pitching lab right now. We trust the direction of this organization. We
Mark
trust all the
Vientos
process.
Is a fucking dog.
Mark Vientos is a fucking stud. Francisco Alvarez, monster. But I'm just saying at the end, it's these opportunities are so fleeting. It's
Well,
hard for me right now to be like, yeah, the future's bright. Can't wait to be back here. Where I'm like, we know being back here is not guaranteed. Fucking Phillies 3 years ago. Imagine how good that core still is. And
that's where I was going to go.
It's hard to do what you just did. To win the games we won is fucking hard.
Yeah, I think best way to explain it is I don't think you're necessarily mad at like the future is bright thing, because I think it's more so, again, like the semantics of it, because just because the Mets made the NLCS this year does not mean the Mets make the playoffs next year. It doesn't mean that the next step is the World Series. You simply have to, like, the Mets team was not good enough this year. There's no way around it. That's why they lost.
Permission to speak on the record?
Speak on the record.
His team kind of sucked, but they were awesome.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh,
right?
For sure. This team definitely kind of sucked.
Legitimate. Like tomorrow, blink, everyone, rub your eyes and look at the Mets 20 active roster for the series. Be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How are we in the NLCS?
No, objectively speaking, like crazy, insane. Like, whoa.
Insane.
But that's also what made it great.
Happened?
But in the same regard, like, part of the reason why they weren't able to beat the Dodgers is because the Dodgers were better. The Mets have
more dogs, more bodies.
Yeah, more dogs, more bodies, better players. There's nothing wrong with saying that, I think, even as a Mets fan. But that doesn't mean that Davis, and this is why I think people maybe have confidence for the future, or I as well have confidence for the future, is because of Stearns, is because of Cohen, is because of Mendoza.
That's true.
Is because of the core that we do have is great. Now it's finding, how can we have a better center fielder than what we had with Tyrone Taylor and Harrison Bader this year? How can we get more production out of the second base position? I know Jose Iglesias was incredible, but like, how can we get more meaningful production that's sustainable out of the second base position? Because we saw in the playoffs, Iglesias kind of fell apart a little bit. How can we get more meaningful innings out of our bullpen and our starting pitch? Like, anywhere. How can we get more innings of use? Those are all things that we will talk a hell of a lot about during the offseason, because now we can actually do that as part of this podcast, start talking about rumors and moves and everything. But just because they're in the NLCS this year does not mean they're going to the World Series next year. Doesn't mean they're making the playoffs next year. The Mets have a lot of work to do. This is like probably not the most fun thing to hear after like a devastating loss, but like, there are good practices and things in place, but they need to be improved upon. You can't get complacent. I think that's probably where your fear comes from, is the complacency of, well, we're here. Surely it can only get better.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of fans that want to have the conversation. Was the season a success? Like, why are we thinking about semantics in any way? Like
that's
like,
so stupid. Yeah.
There's this thing that happens with fans, teams, everything, where there's like this, it's not like entitlement's not the word. It's definitely not the right word, but it's like, there's a expectation that becomes where it's like, that kind of drives what you perceive of success. And that's another thing killing me about this team. Like, weren't even supposed to be here. Got to be happy with getting here. Fuck that. We just got 2 games in the World Series. Mets have done that 5 times in 62 seasons. This, like, it's again, happy it happened. But also, like, it can't leave the season being like, that was fucking chipper dandy wahoo. I'm like, fuck this. Like, we had the shit in our crosshairs.
I don't want 2024 to be one of my favorite seasons ever. I simply don't want it
to
be, because we didn't win. Right now, it is because, again, we haven't really done anything in our lifetime. But like, I don't want to look back at 2024 and be like, man, that was awesome. I want to look at like 2025.
Really,
it was great. I want to look back in 2025 and 2026, and 2024 can be part of the story leading there. But I don't want it to be like 2024 was a peak as a Mets fan, because we didn't win shit.
Yeah, we had fun. But again, that's also part of the conversation, because there is this push and pull, and like, we're doing it right now. Like, I want to appreciate the season. Maybe if you guys give me a week, I'll really appreciate it a lot more. But right now, this fucking stinks, because you saw it. You tasted it. You tasted the forbidden fruits. They dripped from your chin. Like, you were there. You could see it.
At one point, like during this game, funny. So I'm in Chicago, and we were watching at like this one bar that was nice. There's a Dodgers fan in that bar. I made a comment to him when they scored 2 runs in the first inning. I won't repeat the comment, but it was crazy. I was incensed. I was feral. But we ended up moving to Dave & Buster's to last like 3-4 innings. And at like one point when they started scoring all those runs, I just like started laughing. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, this is crazy. Like, I can't even believe, like, because I think I caught myself like being mad and sad, and that was an acceptable like response at the time. I'd be like, fuck, but also being like, holy shit, wow, like, I can't believe I'm even mad right now. This is crazy.
And also, like, you had the 6th inning where, like, you got the go-ahead run to the plate.
And
then you had the 7th inning where you got multiple men on base again, and like you were like one batter away from getting a tie and run back to the plate. And then even the 9th inning with 2 outs and nobody on, the Mets find a way to score one fucking stupid run. Where it's like, that is the true embodiment of this team. Like, they truthfully never quit.
Did not give up.
And there's a lot of pride you can have as a fan that you got to root for a group of players this summer that literally refused to quit, in the words of Michael Scott. But it's just, it was cool, but
bittersweet.
Bittersweet. The word of the podcast always comes back to bittersweet. And also, like, another thing has to go back to is that, again, watching these two teams against each other, there's admission there's a lot of work to be done. There just is.
Definitely. We are not the same.
No, we're not even close to the same. Then you like everyone talks about payrolls, whole fucking
Which is
payroll. All the Cleveland fan losers were like, oh, if only we were rich like these other teams. No, you just have an owner that doesn't feel like spending.
Dude, imagine sympathizing with the owner of the Guardians is worth more than the Steinbrenner.
Paul Dolan. It's James Dolan's fucking cousin for you guys.
Evil.
Might not know. He's a horrible family of horrible people. But the Dodgers' active payroll was simply $60 million more than the Mets. $60 million was Yoshinobu Yamamoto and maybe another reliever and another utility bat. Like, that is... Like, all these little things happen. All these extra guys on the roster, they do that. Like, a guy like Walker Buehler was an afterthought for the Dodgers. He shows up game 3, and he has the best game he's had in like 4 years on the mound. Like, if you have these kinds of guys on your team, these kind of things can happen. But it's just you have to have more and more and more of them. And, like, we thought, like, maybe the secret weapon could have been Kodai Senga. It just wasn't. Kind of wound up costing us the series. And that's okay. Yeah. He didn't get to pitch all fucking year. Like, he made 4 appearances this year. One was against the Braves, one was against the Phillies, 2 were against the Dodgers. Like, he did everything he could for what he was given, but it was a lost year when it comes down to it for him. He was probably the missing piece that could have put you over the top, and you just didn't have him. Injuries fucking happened. Freddie Freeman only played 4 out of 6 games in this series. Like,
Glasnow didn't pitch an inning.
That's what I'm saying. That's just how fucking baseball works. It sucks, but it's true.
Yeah, it's unfortunate again that the season has come to an end. I think there will be some more episodes coming out in the future about, there were positives from this season. We're not going to pretend like there weren't. I don't want to talk about them right now. Like, and I think there's a lot of really good things going on with this team, this organization, and their players. But at the end of the day, couldn't get the job done. Bittersweet end to the season. What was a really, really fun year, an awesome season. Again, I don't want this to be one of my favorite Mets seasons ever. And I hope people who are hearing that understand it, because words get twisted sometimes. A lot of fun. I want better.
Amazing season.
I want better seasons. I just want better because it's the most fun? Winning World Series. That's the most fun we could ever have.
I got a reply to one of my tweets from Schlag. I'm not going to say the username actually, but Eitan, EITAN. That's your name on Twitter. Can we get a crazy long Mets stuff talking about how good this all was and how good we're set up? I think we could all really use it. No?
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, is that
not right now?
Like, we'll give a long episode. We'll do like a full season recap maybe next week or the week after and really like relive a lot of this shit. But it hurts too bad right now. And also, again, like how good we're set up, because a lot of things organizationally, I'm really confident how we're set up. I'm really confident that eventually, like, we're going to have the pieces in our minor league system that we can acquire Jack Flaherty the trade deadline for what feels like nothing. You know what I mean? Like, making moves like that where you don't even sweat about the high upside 19-year-old you lose in the MLB ready, like 40, 45 value shortstop. When you can just get those guys off of your organization and get a guy like Jack Flaherty, like, that's amazing. We could do that for free. Mets just aren't there right now. Like, there were opportunities that you don't have when you're not that strong of an organization.
I mean, listen, traded Tyler Stewart for Jesse Winker, and Winker was fucking awesome. Like, that was a great job.
We're not here without Jesse Winker. We're truthfully
absolutely not.
Which is amazing. He should have played all 6 games. So that's another conversation for another day, I guess. But like, the how good we're set up thing is, I think that Mets fans, relative to the history of this organization, we have a better system at the top right now than we've ever had, while also
not even close,
still having a roster that's full of holes and
incomplete
and not incomplete and not on par with the class of the league.
And because again, if they were, we'd still be playing baseball. We'd be at least going to Game 7, and at that point, sometimes you lose. Like, sometimes that happens. But the Dodgers were the better team, more talented team. They took it to the Mets. They beat us. It happens. It sucks, but I think again, proud of how the team played this year.
So proud. Again, like, I don't want to be like curmudgeon. I'm just like, this is
of course
the season just ended. This fucking sucks. But just like, it was a really good season. I'm really proud of this team, while also understanding that success is fleeting.
Do we got Frankie Peppers?
We do have Frankie. Before I do Frankie, I think we have Frankie. I mean, if Frankie's doing a space, I would hope he left us a message before he hopped on and made his own content. But let me load up Frankie. Also, I want to just like read a passage from. I get really emotional at the end of every baseball season. It's just so sad again to lose what you do every single day. At least we do every single day, and a lot of you guys listening to this podcast. And there's a great like little essay, like a little snippet from Bart Giamatti, who was the president of Yale, and he wound up being the commissioner of baseball for a little while.
Paul Giamatti's dad.
Is that actually true?
I swear, yeah.
That's crazy. He's also the guy that fully took down, like, made his mission to take down Pete Rose, and also tried to take down George Steinbrenner and accidentally set up the Yankee dynasty. So shout out Bart for that one. But Greenfield's the Mind. He wrote it, I think, when he might have still been in college. I think he came out like in the 30s or the 40s or something like that. But it's just really nice, really soothing. I'm going to be a little literary asshole right now, my liberal arts degree, but just going to read the whole passage. It breaks your heart. It's designed to break your heart. The game begins in the spring when everything else begins again. It blossoms in the summer, filling afternoons and evenings. And then as soon as the chill rains come, it stops and leave you to face the fall alone. You count on it, rely on it to buffer the passage of time, to keep the memory of sunshine and high skies alive. And then just when the days are all twilight, when you need it most, it stops and the summer is gone.
It's true. Could have
That's
said
just
better myself.
That's such real fucking shit. But here we go. This is it.
Final
time to
message of
send
the
this out.
2024 season.
Final message of the season from the one, the only, the consummate, the immeasurable Frankie Peppers. 2 full minutes, guys.
Gentlemen, it's Frankie Peppers. How you doing? This is not the message I was hoping to leave. I did not want to have to leave a message for you boys tonight, but that's how it goes, I guess. I can't say much that probably hasn't already been said, but I just want to express how grateful I am for you two, for the Mets'd podcast, for everybody who I've gotten to know a little bit this season, for your network, for making you boys get paid for what you do. It's deserved. It was interesting being at Citi Field tonight because you saw a core of people who were there for a game that we knew we might lose. And there were people there till the final out, as loud as possible. I want to give a shout out to my new friend Corey, who I was sitting next to. Wonderful guy. This one stings. This one stings, but I'm running out of time, so I'm actually going to leave a second message here. So don't go anywhere.
Classic Frankie.
This guy's the best.
I'm amazed at what this team was able to do this season and the energy that this team was able to harness, and all these good things that came of this. And a rebuild year, mind you. This was the year that we were supposed to compete for a postseason spot, not play the 1 seed in the National League Championship Series. This year, it hurts to go down. It hurts to lose. It was so close to the World Series, but I can't help but drive back to my home in less than 4 hours, by the way. I can't help but drive back home feeling good about what this team did, and even better about the future of this team. We're in a good place, and I can't wait to go on the ride with you, with everyone here. I really appreciate you boys, and now, always, forever, let's go Mets. Take care, boys.
Shout out Frankie. Thank you, Frankie, for that. What an amazing season we got to discover the gem of Frankie Peppers, right?
Of course. Frankie Peppers is a legend. Can't wait to hear more from him. Maybe in the offseason we get Frankie Peppers to give us his 5 players he wants the Mets to sign.
I love his 5 free agent fits for the Mets.
Frankie's 5. There you go.
Frankie's 5. Also, just a little funny quote. Just to close this out here in a little bit. So one of the reporters asked JJ Martinez what the future holds for him. He said pickleball.
Yeah, that's about right. He's done.
And then he said, if something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to come back because I'm not going to beg to come back. I'm going to come back because it makes sense for everyone.
Yeah, I think he knows his goose is cooked.
Yeah, I mean, the goose looked pretty cooked. And then also, kind of like Frankie said, thank you guys for being here this season with us. This was a pretty wild season for us, considering where it started when last year ended, and then where we've wound up as this one has ended, and what we've been able to do for you guys this last month. Having podcasts almost every single day.
Pretty much.
This was really fun to do. Happy that you guys were here. Our numbers went bonkers, so that was cool to see too. That everyone's here listening with us, game after game, series after series. So, thank you guys for helping make the season really special for us and everyone together.
Yeah, we'll always be forever grateful for those of you who ever listen to 1 episode, 2 episodes, no episodes, and you just tweet at us and you talk shit, whatever. Giving us attention, we really do appreciate it. Roller coaster season. We're not going anywhere. The boys will continue to be putting out episodes all off season long.
We'll tell you guys later this week, probably Wednesday, we're going to record an episode with all mailbag and voicemail. So we'll put it up on Instagram. We'll put it up on Twitter. Just keep an eye on our socials, and then you'll be able to either talk or submit something. We'll do long, and we'll answer anything you guys have. Anything about us, anything about the team, anything about the off season. I don't care. Ask us literally anything, and we will answer it and put it on the pod.
Yeah, however long it takes, we'll try to get through them all. As a little thank you to you guys for supporting us as long as you did this year, and what was an absolutely insane season. Hellish, I'd say, but amazing in all the best ways possible, besides the winning the championship. But trying to think, final words here. I hope this is not the last time I see Pete Alonso play in the New York Mets uniform. I really hope they can get something done. Pete's a fucking dog. Love Pete. He stepped up in the biggest moments for this team, which is so funny because everybody was dogging him all year long for not being clutch, and he had some of the biggest moments for this team in postseason
over
history.
and over again. Showed up hand over fist. Francisco Lindor, people wanted to kill him in May, and now he's like the cornerstone piece of the franchise, one of the most beloved players in the history of this organization. Like Sean Manaea came out of nowhere. He's going to make himself $100 million. Probably not with us, but like
probably not.
Shout out to him for turning himself into this guy. Fucking Ryan Stanek. People on his head in the stick. What, 2.5 weeks ago?
The boys.
That was my call. Ryan Stanek is good. Phil Maton sucks. So you guys get ready for more good offseason takes like that. They'll wind up being true in October. So stick with us for those.
Yep. Thank you guys for listening and watching. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel to see the video version of the podcast. If you are listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on Twitter at
James_Sciano.
I'm Draftnik Mark with a C. Tough season, fun season. Let's get it in 2025. Let's fucking go Mets. We'll talk to you guys later this week. Peace out.
Fun season, guys. Let's fucking go Mets. See you soon.
Dodgers in 4.